ISIS has been contained, oh yeah. ISIS is just alright with me. ISIS the JV team. I'm pulling for the Iranians. I don't care what they did today. I don't care what they're gonna do. I don't care what they did today. ISIS is just alright, oh yeah.
Now, a message of fairness from President Barack Obama.
To move our nation forward, we have often used affirmative action to right the wrongs of past discrimination. Now is the time to complete our nation's journey by ending discrimination of the ugly.
Studies show that the ugly are likely to earn 10 to 15% less than their counterparts at work. And the aesthetically challenged are shut out from some occupations entirely, like lingerie models.
I'm sorry, I'd love to hire you, but we don't have anything in your size. Ever.
Barack, did you hear this, man?
Yes, dear.
Movie stars.
What does Ben Affleck got that I don't have?
Well,
Changing the law may even bring some social benefits beyond the workplace.
Mr. Flint, a Miss Pelosi is here for the December issue cover shoot.
Oh, close it down. I quit.
For more information on how you may qualify for Anglo-American affirmative action, contact your representative or the nearest mirror.
Discrimination. It's an ugly thing.
Our microphones now take you behind the scenes at the Obama White House as the reality of Scott Walker's victory sinks in.
Tough break, Barack. I did what I could.
Well, while you were there, are you sure you didn't just happen to say that Walker's record was sterling?
Hey, look, Barry, at least I went there. I didn't just tweet, best wishes, hope you win.
I was busy.
Yeah? Really? Doing what? Were you having another fundraiser with a private equity group, or were you still trying to get that war on women thing off the ground?
Well, I wanted to go, but...
Well, they begged me to go to Wisconsin, and I went. You ran away from a fight for government unions.
And you endorsed Romney 4 days before you endorsed me.
I was just saying you can't say he's evil just because he's in the private equity business.
It's the Chicago way.
That's great. If you want to go back, keep it up. 4 balanced budgets, count them. And I think I like tax cuts.
Don't you walk out on me.
Join us next time.
Don't you walk out on me!
We take you behind the scenes at the Obama White House.
Bring them back. That's what we're gonna shout. Leave Iraq. We don't really care what the war's about. So let's redeploy troops instead of pulling out. Yeah, it means the same thing that we chickened out. We'll say it over and over.
Say it over and over.
Until Nancy is the speaker.
Till Nancy is the speaker.
Yeah, we hate Bush a lot, and this is all we've got. Bring them back. Bring them back, bring them back, bring them back.
Bring them back, bring them back.
Bring them back. Around the world we have lost our friends. Tell Rumsfeld to pack. Our plan would bring the war to a quick and decisive end. And I smile when I think it could help me win. And I can't wait to save Vietnam again. And why shouldn't we lead ya?
Why shouldn't we lead ya?
We've got Cindy and Jack Murtha.
Got Cindy and Jack Murtha.
Yeah, we need them a lot, cause this is all we've got. Bring them back. Bring them back, bring them back, bring them back. Bring them back, bring them back, bring them back. Bring them back, bring them back, bring them back.
She'll be all right for a while. For a while she can smile until Barack comes back and she goes on the attack. it doesn't work.
Oh, hell!
You know I taught her well. You couldn't tell that she fakes crying over you, crying over you.
It's not easy. It's not easy. I just couldn't do it if I just didn't,
No tears but
passionately
crying.
believe it was the right thing to do.
Crying,
I have so many opportunities from this country.
crying, she's crying.
I just don't want to see us fall backwards.
Fake crying.
This is very personal for me. It's not just political. It's not just public. I see what's happening, and we have to reverse it.
Gay men, I wasn't putting you down. Gay women, hey, there's no need to frown. I said I was uncomfortable around you, but there's no need to be unhappy. I'm proud to tell you now why I love gays. I'm glad to tell you now why I love gays. I share many things that you men do enjoy, like I'm attracted to me, but not other boys, and that's why I love gays. It's fun to tell you now why I love gays. I think Rose is fine, just like she is. All of them like that Les. Gay men, does this go with these gay women? Have a plaid shirt on me, my gay friends. On this we agree, my campaign sure needs more money. I'd love to tell you now why I love gays. I'm glad to tell you now why I love gays. Your disposable income is high. That's one thing I know. I'm not uncomfortable asking for your dough. I want to tell you now why I love gays. I gotta tell you now why I love gays. I like really tight shirts and I love your parades. I'm metrosexual and that's like halfway. I'm proud to tell you why I love gays. I'm glad to tell you now why I love gays. I share many things that you men do enjoy, like I'm attracted to me, but not other boys. Why I love gays, oh yes, why I love gays.
Most Americans think that illegals should head back home. We used to think so too, till we realized illegals could pay 21% interest on their credit cards, just like the gringos. Introducing the all-new Bank of Amigo card. The Bank of Amigo card is the best friend an undocumented worker ever had. Packed with special features like bonus points for every day you're in our country. Good towards health care, border crossings, college education, fake IDs, and so much more. And the Bank of Amigo card is the only card endorsed by Senator John McCain.
If you need cash and can't wait till mañana, then the Bank of Amigo card is for you. Plus, the more you owe, the less likely you are to be deported.
There's no immigration check, no social security number required. Just sign your name, or anybody else's, on the dotted line.
Caramba, it's easier than sneaking in. Thanks, Bank of Amigo.
The Bank of Amigo card, because when it comes to money, we're all amigos.
You might be seeing a new label about food safety on packages of meat. You're probably asking, why another label? Why? Because we said so, just like your mama. Remember how your mother said, always chew your food thoroughly? Well, she was right, and so are we at the USDA. Recent studies have shown that eating too much well-done charbroiled meat may cause certain types of cancer. So we've come up with a real gourmet solution. Boil, not broil, your steak for 3 hours at 212 degrees in a large pot of water. You'll kill every parasite known to exist, you'll avoid that potentially dangerous char-grilled flavor, and you're sure to eat a lot less red meat. So make your mama proud. And keep your elbows off the table. This has been a message from the U.S. Department of Agriculture. And like your mama, we know what's best.
Out of school and tired of looking for work in your parents' broken economy? Then don't. Join the carefree life of the Welfare Millennials.
Many millennials, just like you, were told by their parents that hard work pays off. It does, but it doesn't have to be your hard work. On welfare, it's like you're 15 again. You can hang out, play video games, ride your bike, or go to the gym, while other responsible people take care of your needs. And don't worry, you'll still live the lifestyle I was going to permit you to have if you chose to work. A tiny apartment, tiny car, gluten-free muffins, and bike trails. But now you can't be laid off, you can't be late for work, and you can't get fired. Yes, you can. Be a kid all of your life on welfare. The smart choice for America's millennials.
Individual results may vary, and if you're lucky, your parents may have scrimped and saved all their life and leave you a few bucks.
I've been in Reverend Wright's place, but it must have been the wrong time. I could have left right there if I'd ever heard that age line. I was in the back pew, and I didn't stay the whole time. Should have sent him on a long trip, but he would have come back sometime. I've been in Reverend Wright's place, but it must have been the wrong time. I was in the back pew, 20 years is a long, long time. His ranting and raving had escaped me somehow. Must have had my iPod turned up way too loud. He's taking my name in vain on national TV. If I'm gonna win this thing, I got to cut him free. I've been in Reverend Wright's place, but it must have been the wrong time. Not have left right then, if I ever heard that age line. I was in the back pew, and I didn't stay the whole time. Should have sent him on a long trip, but he would have come back sometime. Today, I want to denounce the man that last month I couldn't denounce any more than my old racist white grandmother, Reverend Jeremiah Wright. Why? Because I want to win. I'm not going back to Wright's place. I'm going to have to rewind. I was in the back pew, and I only went at election time. Since he's been in my face, the campaign's in a bad way. Should have watched him on TV instead of going down to Wright's place. I've been around to Wright's place, but it must have been the wrong time. Would have left right there if I'd ever heard that age line. I was in the back pew.
What do you get when a president comes up with the dumbest cover-up stories ever? And his closest aide, Susan Rice, keeps believing him. The funniest buddy film of all time, Dumb and Stupider. Yes, it's a laugh a minute when Susan goes on TV with the Benghazi story.
This was a spontaneous reaction to a video.
And when she's trotted out to explain deserter Bo Bergdahl's controversial release.
He served the United States with honor and distinction.
And right before he leaves office, the president lays it on thick again.
Susan, before I leave, I need you to sign this and 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 this order to unmask some stuff.
Unmask? Oh.
Yeah, we need to remove the red masking tape after we paint the White House for the new president.
Oh, okay.
See, Vlad, I told you I could be flexible with the NSA. Duh.
Not since Haldeman and Ehrlichman has a comedy team been this great. Dumb and Stupider, coming to an intelligence hearing near you. Now, the President of the Banana Republic of America.
My subjects and fellow insurers, I, Barack the Benevolent, Commandante of your health care, have proclaimed for years that we can't wait to make health care more affordable. We can't wait for the American people to save $2,500 on premiums. We can't wait for every man, woman, and child, gay or straight, to have maternity coverage. But in the middle of the night, your government has changed its mind again. Businesses can wait. Yes, I will now graciously let businesses with lots of employees have years to comply with my law. However, those of you with individual insurance plans must comply by March 31st, 2014, or meet your doom. You can't wait. That is all.
Stay tuned to this station for further pronouncements from Barack the Benevolent, protector of poverty and leader of the uninformed.
If you search the shadows, they're not that hard to find.
But we can't send them back, they need to stay.
And if you search for reasons why we failed this time, there's just one word that blew it all away. Amnesty is such an ugly word. Everything you heard's untrue. Amnesty, you know that's so absurd. Guess that's why we heard it from you. It was just a new status.
I could have made new friends.
We can't have security until we let them in. We'll both try to pass it off with promises again. You know.
You know.
I hope so, amigos. While you're on vacation, don't be too concerned.
Yeah, we won't be passing nothing while you're gone.
If it weren't for talk radio, we'd already be done.
But we can't turn it off.
Who turned it on? Amnesty is such an ugly word. Everything you heard's untrue. You know that's so absurd. Guess that's why we heard from you.
Good luck in the primaries there, John. I'm sure the numbers will come back. Don't cry. You'll always have the Senate.
Have you made the mistake of becoming a biological parent? Consider this. A recent scientific study has shown adoptive parents are far superior. They spend more money on their children.
Look at my new iPod.
Cool. Did you get it for your birthday?
No, I'm adopted.
Oh.
They spend more time with their children.
Let's stay another month at Disney World.
All right.
And love them more than biological parents.
Dad, can I?
No.
Can we?
Shut up.
Don't ruin your child's life. Give them away to somebody else and adopt a family of your own.
Well, my poll numbers just came in.
Well, I have a friend who I was thinking maybe we'll have a better chance to get the
Seems to me that
get the supporters,
don't have any choice.
activists. Gather round me, Democratic Party. Gather round me while I preach some. Reverend Carville, I feel a something coming on here. That's right, and the topic's how to win. Are you all listening? Get it straight. You gotta accentuate the negative, ignore anything positive, and act like you're the alternative to W, who's nasty, cold, and mean. You gotta spread gloom up to the maximum and bring
Now, Hillary Clinton's
to the minimum and hope for some pandemonium and trouble to walk upon the scene. To illustrate my last remark, Fritz in 84 and Dukakis ran 4 years apart. What did they do? Just when everything looks so dark.
They lost?
No, before that.
Oh, they had to accentuate the negative, ignore anything positive.
Just be sure you act like you're the alternative. The W is nasty, cold, and mean.
You gotta spread gloom up to the maximum. And
don't forget to bring joy down to the minimum. Hope for some pandemonium and trouble to walk upon the scene. Yes, and trouble to walk upon the scene. You're gonna need it.
Oh, it's so easy to love Dancer and Prancer, Donner and Blitzen, Vixen, and especially Rudolph. You know, Rudolph, the red-nosed reindeer. But what about the other side of the reindeer family? The caribou. The caribou get no cute song, no cuddly cartoons, no Christmas specials. The caribou, they have to fend for themselves in the frozen tundra, uncared for by the liberals. If the truth be known, it's the conservatives who love the caribou. It's the conservatives who care for the caribou, who want to see the caribou go forth and multiply. Conservatives for Caribou is a non-profit organization dedicated to increasing the caribou population. We can double, we can triple the caribou in the frozen tundra, but we need your help, not your money, your support. It'll take a pipeline to double the caribou population. Conservatives for Caribou want that pipeline. Daschle Democrats don't. Call Tom Daschle. Tell him to drop the petty politics. Let the caribou go forth and multiply. Support Anwar for the caribou.
Welcome to the grand jury, Mrs. Clinton. How are you?
I'm sorry, I don't recall.
Well, how's the book tour?
I'm sorry, I don't recall.
Well, let's get started. Try to remember when you were a member of Rose Law Firm and worked Whitewater.
I don't remember that big money lender. I was baking cookies for my daughter.
But Mrs. Clinton, don't you remember that illegal tender and your shady friend, that McDougal fellow?
I'm sorry, I can't remember. My brain's in a blender. It's Jell-O.
Oh, that's pretty
Could we get on with this, please? I have to get back to my book tour.
Okay, Mrs. Clinton, try to remember. And don't blame your gender for missing all this high corruption.
Well, excuse me, I don't remember, and don't blame my gender. I'm not just some bimbo eruption.
Well, no, I didn't mean to imply that, but come next November, your Bill the Big Spender could come to his end for this peccadillo.
Well, I don't think so, because I can't remember. My brain's in a blender. It's Jell-O.
Are you getting tired? Would you like a recess?
I'm sorry, I don't recall.
Who's President of the United States?
I'm not sure I can remember that.
This is very troubling.
Well, pardon me.
Only your husband can do that.
Now, broadcasting live from high atop the excellently broadcasting building on the second story of a rug shop in Kandahar, it's Afghanistan's truth eliminator, Ali Limbaugh. And now filling in for Ali Limbaugh, please welcome Tommy bin Silvani.
Yes, hello everyone. Sitting in for Ollie Limbaugh as he makes his historic tour of America to learn from the infidels. And now I am proud to welcome Ollie Limbaugh. Hello, Ollie.
Hello, Tommy. Good to talk to you. Yes, it is I, all-seeing, all-caring, all-knowing Maha Ali, checking in with you live from Gary, Indiana, as I continue with my Ollie is Everywhere America tour. Now, first, I'd like to thank the Afghan Agency for International Development for sponsoring the tour. Let me assure you, what you have heard on Al Jazeera about this nation, America, is true. They have plumbing in all the buildings, sometimes on every floor. Also, the infidels have a thing here called pay-per-view, where you can actually watch a movie when you want to watch it. Of course, I watched many, including Fahrenheit 9/11, twice. Now, last night in a village called Madison, Wisconsin, I met with an American warlord named Howard Dean. But he said something that gave me profound optimism. He said, "Don't worry about Bush, because he will be out of power in just 3 3/4 more years." And that Bush is what they called a crippled duck. Again, he was a bit odd, but passionate. Well, listen, I've got to go, but later on this week, I, Ollie Limbaugh, will be meeting with a real hero of mine, the one they call Kerry. I understand he's a decorated war hero, so I hope to have more reports. Until then, it is I, Ollie Limbaugh, a little long on this segment, looking at American oppression close up. Back in a moment.
Ollie Limbaugh. You're listening to the EIJ Network 2005.
Once again, greetings, thrill seekers, music lovers, conversationalists, and people dazzled by broadcast excellence. Great to have you with us. It's Friday, so let's go.
Now, from sunny South Florida, it's Open Line Friday.
Yes, sirree. And here are the rules for Open Line Friday. You can talk about anything you want when we go to the phone. You may not be able to hear a difference in Monday through Thursday and Open Line Friday, but there is. It's in the way we screen the calls. Monday through Thursday, the callers have to talk about things I care about, or they don't make it past the screener unless they trick the screener and lie to it. If that happens, the calls are politely dispatched in ways the listener will never detect. But on Friday, you can talk about whatever you want. Doesn't matter whether I care about it or not. It was originally designed to give me sort of a half day off to turn the content portion of the program over to, unprofessional rank amateur callers, and it pretty much remains that way. Telephone number is 800-282-2882, and the email address lrushbo@eibnet.us. Okay, so the caravan is still headed our way. President Trump is thanking Mexico for apparently getting ready to take some action here to help stop it. The Khashoggi situation continues to be, if you watch the drive-by media, the biggest news of the day continues to be the death of the so-called journalist Jamal Khashoggi. I've been waiting for this. There's a story out there at the Washington Post. Conservatives mount a whisper campaign smearing Khashoggi in defense of Trump. And, of course, your host is mentioned prominently in this story. There's no whisper about this. I'm not whispering anything when I talk about this. I'm shouting it from the rooftops. There is no question what this is. I think anybody that pays any attention to the media knows if the media is focusing on it in the last 2.5 years, it's because they think they can do great damage to Donald Trump with it. Pure and simple. Open and shut, front and back. That's it. They don't care about Khashoggi. They want you to think they do because of the brotherhood and the brethren of journalists. But that's not what this is. And in the process, they're not telling anybody who Khashoggi really was. We are. I'm attempting to tell you who he was and what he stood for. But this, in a nutshell, is an attempt to damage Donald Trump's foreign policy by making him cave and renounce a close relationship with Saudi Arabia. It is also about militant Islam and the Muslim Brotherhood, of which Jamal Khashoggi was a practicing active member. He went to Haskell with Osama bin Laden. They were buddies, but they diverged in terms of tactics. Bin Laden decided to go the terrorist route, and Khashoggi went the Muslim Brotherhood route, which is, I mean, it's pro-violent, but they actually, their PR is that they attempt to achieve their objectives within the quote-unquote Democrat process, the political process. They want a united Arab world. And the Saudis are the biggest problem to that because the Saudis are too close to the United States. The Saudis are the number one buyers of American weapons. Number one. They spend more money buying American arms than any other nation. That might surprise you, but it happens to be true. The Saudis have also become recent allies with us and Israel against Iran. Now, don't laugh at this. If you go back and look at Barack Hussein, who the drive-by media loves. Well, Obama loved Iran, too. Obama paid Iran $1.8 billion in pallet-loaded cash. Obama signed a nuclear deal with Iran that was essentially a pathway for them to achieve nuclear weapons. Trump has since torn that up. That ticked him off. That's another rewind of an Obama policy. So if Obama loved Iran, or thought it was okay at least to have an allied relationship with them, or less adversarial, then so does the drive-by media. But none of this about Khashoggi is designed, it's not intended to say deserve to die. Don't misunderstand. It's just, folks, we're between a rock and a hard place here. Every day, we're faced with a challenge. The media picks a story that is their number one story, and its purpose is very clear. Damage, destroy, whatever, as much as they can, Donald Trump. We have to defend this. At least I think this. This is my reaction to all of this. I don't want him taking Trump out. I don't want him damaging Trump. I don't want any of this to happen. This is all bogus. I want the trajectory this country is on to remain. I want us to remain on that trajectory. I want to beat back the insanity and the abnormality and the psychological disorders that have become the Democrat Party. I do not want those people in charge and leading and governing this country. It will be a disaster if that happens. It will be an absolute disaster. I got an email from a friend of mine last night who was just beside himself over the fact that Republicans might lose the House. He is convinced. This guy's a former New York liberal, by the way. He reformed about 20 years ago. He's having trouble dealing with the possibility that the Democrats might win the House. He's having trouble dealing with the fact that a majority of the American people might want that. I understand. I agree with him completely. Doesn't make any sense. The Democrat Party doesn't deserve to be winning anything just on the basis of the way they comported themselves in the Kavanaugh situation. But that's just the latest. The Democrat Party has become the home of the mentally unstable who have used the political system to fix whatever problems they have, their grievances that they think they have. And it all revolves around the age-old argument of the purpose of government. It really is. You take all of this that's happening domestically, and when you synthesize it, now when you boil it all down to its essence, it's about the role of government. And it's about the fact that the Democrats do not want to promote self-reliance. They don't want to promote rugged individualism. They don't want to promote people dealing with life, fixing situations, dealing and facing adversity and overcoming it, becoming better people. They want people to remain inept, incompetent, dependent, screwed up, in a mess, thinking the government is the solution. And the solution is not really a solution. The solution that the Democrat voters want is punishment for people they think are responsible for the misery in their lives. Why would we want that to triumph? Well, we don't. But in the mission to bring that about, here comes this Khashoggi story. And as far as the drive-bys are concerned, it's an open opportunity to blaspheme Trump, to damage Trump. The ultimate aim is to get Trump to cave and abandon Saudi Arabia. It's not that the drive-bys have anything on Saudi Arabia. It's just to get Trump to cave, period. Just to prove that they can manipulate, intimidate Trump into going against his instincts. They've been trying to do that since the campaign. They have failed practically in every effort they've made. They're dying to be able to say they pressured Trump into doing something he didn't want to do because he's afraid of them. And they think they're getting close. When Trump's out there saying, yeah, it looks like Khashoggi died. Looks like it's a pretty good bet, Khashoggi. They think they're getting close, and they're all jammed up, and they're all intrigued, and they're all getting more jazzed for this. That's why we tell you who Khashoggi is. Not because anybody thinks he deserves to die, but the media never tells you the truth about anything. Not anymore, not where it concerns Trump. How many of you think, let me just ask you a question. Remember this faceless, nameless, anonymous op-ed that ran in the New York Times, supposedly written by somebody in the Trump inner circle in the West Wing, talking about how bad it is in there. How dangerously childish and immature Trump is. How unprepared, how ill-equipped, how incompetent, how at risk we all are. But then we were assured by whoever wrote this thing, don't worry, there are adults like us that are protecting this country from President Trump, and you can count on us to... Well, everybody said, well, who is this? Who wrote this? And they began circulating names. You notice we don't have an identity yet. Not possible. Not possible that whoever wrote this has not been outed. After all this many weeks, not possible. Not possible that the person who wrote it hasn't outed him or herself. For the fame alone. For the media accolades alone. Another thing, why has it been forgotten? I mean, it's still a pretty damn big deal that there's that kind of a traitor inside the West Wing. Why has it been forgotten? Because it didn't work. That's why they're on to other things. Have you noticed there's no news about Russian collusion? You notice that? Why is that? Because it's not a big deal to people getting ready to vote. It's not an issue on which people's votes will turn. That's why the media dropped it. They tried to make it the issue. They did everything they could to make Russian collusion, and Trump did it, the issue for 2.5 years. Here we are, the midterms are just a little over 2 weeks away. Not a word about, other than this Mueller report supposedly being out there. But now Valerie Jarrett's daughter, who is a reporter at CNN, no bias there, Valerie Jarrett's daughter says, no, get this, calm down. The Mueller investigation is not over. It's going to be going on long after the midterms. Really? Well, then why leak that Mueller has about wrapped it up and his report's ready to go? Because, as somebody pointed out yesterday, or maybe it was not, it was something else somebody put, what are the odds that between now and Election Day, the New York Times is going to have some story supposedly containing nuts and bolts details of the Mueller report? It'll be anonymously written or anonymously sourced. I don't think you should discount that possibility at all. The issues that matter, the issues that are polling right now, and the issues that are mattering in terms of people voting are what? Immigration, caravan immigration, and health care. Those happen to be the two primary issues. Democrats in the drive-bys haven't been talking about that at all. Leading up to this, they've tried to get people concerned about collusion and mistreatment of women via Ballsy Ford. By the way, that's what Fox edited out. Ballsy Ford. That, I hear people on Fox every day say the word piss, bitch, and this kind of stuff, but they wouldn't let me say balls. Well, I do. Why deny it here? I hear hosts on Fox say they're ticked off, except they don't say ticked. And I hear them use the B-I-H word, not talking about people, but talking about arguing and being, kind of a mood. But Ballsy Ford crossed a little bit of a line. No big deal. I just found it fascinating, and people were asking me what it was that got bleeped out. That was it. So anyway, this leads to probably the perhaps most replayed audio soundbite of my interview with Sean Hannity yesterday. And that's when he asked me to predict the election outcome. And I predicted that the Republicans will hold the House and pick up some seats in the Senate. Fox has been playing that soundbite all morning for people, other guests, to react to. So when we come back from the break, we'll give you a little taste of that as Open Line Friday rolls on.
This is the big one. Rush on the EIB network. Why wait for paradise when you can stay at the Sharia Arms Hotel?
When visiting Los Angeles, His Majesty the Most Respected Sultan of Brunei invites you to stay at a luxurious Sharia Arms Hotel, formerly the Beverly Hills Hotel and the Hotel Bel Air. But be forewarned, inappropriate activities will bring swift and certain punishment. Simple theft of a towel or washcloth is punishable by death, as is letting your wife drive or talk to the concierge. Drinking alcoholic beverages from the minibar, also punishable by death. However, watching inappropriate in-room movies is punishable by cutting off your hand. Homosexuality is punishable by more homosexuality than death.
Visit Paradise today at any one of our fine Sharia Arms hotels, where Sharia law is served daily.
So I just checked the email, a public email account, which I do often, sometimes during the breaks. And I found one. A subject line is how I find these. Dear Mr. Limbaugh, I disagree with your assessment of what this election is about. The main voting issue is not immigration or health care. It is that the Democrat voting base is a bunch of nuts. I wish that were true. I have tried to make that a fundamental issue in people's minds. The literal insanity, the psychological disorders, and I mean that with every essence of my being. I think much of the Democrat Party agenda has derived from their voters being psychologically screwed up. They are suffering psychological disorders because of things that have happened to them in their lives, and they want to blame the country for it. They want to blame the patriarchy. They want to blame the founding. But then they claim that the only fix for it is the government punishing the people that did whatever happened to these people. And the Democrat Party has embraced all of these various psychological disorders and abnormalities and has tried to normalize them all by enshrining them as policy planks in the Democrat Party platform, if you will. And that's how we end up with people that represent 0.2% of the population, giving the whole weight of the Democrat Party thrown behind them to make their issue one in which the otherwise vast majority can end up being bullied into submission. I have tried even before, but specifically since the Kavanaugh hearings, to make the point that that's what we're up against, and that's what is going to end up triumphing and winning if the Democrats win the House. All of that abnormality is going to achieve power, and when they have the power to actually implement their forms of punishment against groups of people they blame for whatever is wrong in their lives. These are not people that think they can fix things themselves. They're not people that they've not been raised this way. The Democrat Party does not promote that kind of thing in human behavior. The Democrat Party is happy to help them blame others, happy to make them think they have no hope, that the deck is stacked against them because of whatever, their skin color, their sexual orientation, their gender identity, their religion, whatever. Democrat Party is helpful in making all these people believe they're justified in thinking that life is miserable because of all these horrible other people and what they've done to them. And then the Democrat Party, let us fix it for you. We'll become your champions. We'll punish these people for you. And the Democrat voter base goes, yeah. Now, what you need to do is examine every Democrat constituency group that they've been representing for the last, take your pick, 10 years, 20, 50, and ask yourself if any of the people in those groups have become happy, have had their issues addressed and fixed, or are they as miserable as they've always been? Are they as angry as they've always been, if not more so? Are they still complaining today about things they were complaining about? Injustice, discrimination, mistreatment that they've been complaining about for 50 years. What has the Democrat Party done to fix any of this? Answer is nothing. Although the Democrat Party has done its best to punish people who are not Democrats, and Pelosi has recently suggested that there's more of that on tap if the Democrats win. People that don't vote for them, don't go along with them, are going to suffer consequences, she said. But the Democrats have tried to punish all these people, but it has not made their voters any happier. There isn't any happiness on the left. You can't find any. There's no laughter. There's no enjoyment, contentment. Why do we want them winning? Is your terror cell living in terror?
Now this word from the New York Times to jihadists everywhere.
Is your safe house not that safe? If you want your sleeper cell to sleep safely, read the New York Times.
Jihadists everywhere depend on the New York Times.
I saved my sleeper cell thanks to the New York Times.
For information you can't get anywhere else.
Did you know your phone calls are traced? Did you know your money transfers are being intercepted?
Now, thanks to the New York Times, you will be safe and secure.
I rerouted my terror funds thanks to the New York Times.
From Tora Bora to Tijuana, terrorists everywhere depend on the New York Times.
Because you'll find all the secret stuff that makes news meaningful to you.
Plus, exciting bonus features.
Daily attacks on the infidels by Maureen O'Dowd and Paul Al Krugman and Tom Al Friedman. Not to mention the entire front page of our newspaper, which is daily attacks on the infidels.
Gift subscriptions available.
We offer at the New York Times quantity discounts for large terror cells, educational discounts for madrasas and terrorist training camps. Read the New York Times and your sleeper cell can sleep safely.
Even in the deepest, darkest cave, you'll be the first to get inside knowledge of what the infidels have in mind to wipe you out.
New York Times, The Infidels, Jihad Journal.
You might be seeing a new label about food safety on packages of meat. You're probably asking, why another label? Why? Because we said so, just like your mama. Remember how your mother said, always chew your food thoroughly? Well, she was right, and so are we at the USDA. Recent studies have shown that eating too much well-done charbroiled meat may cause certain types of cancer. So we've come up with a real gourmet solution. Boil, not broil, your steak for 3 hours at 212 degrees in a large pot of water. You'll kill every parasite known to exist, you'll avoid that potentially dangerous char-grilled flavor, and you're sure to eat a lot less red meat. So make your mama proud and keep your elbows off the table. This has been a message from the U.S. Department of Agriculture, and like your mama, we know what's best.
Now, an intercept of a secret radio message to the resistance from headquarters.
My fellow comrades, the last few days have given us a few setbacks in our march to overthrow the duly elected government of Donald Trump. First, our Russian collusion offensive has largely failed, as our propaganda outlets at CNN, New York Times, and the Washington Post have had to retract or change stories to reflect the problem of unavoidable factual information. Now, Colonel Bernie Sanders is under fire for bank fraud. Agent Loretta Lynch has had to go underground after an email service that implicated her in her good work to help HRC escape scrutiny during the campaign. On the bright side, though, we may still be able to get at least a few jihadists into the U.S. after the court struck down most of the travel ban, and the Republicans in the Senate have embraced enough of Obamacare to make Trump care really suck if they decide to pass it this week. So take heart. The battle goes on. Resist. Thank you.
This completes the intercepted radio message from Resistance Headquarters.
Okay, before we get to the audio sound bites, and then your phone calls, if you're on hold, you're there for a reason, so be patient. We'll get to you el quico. Little Spanish lingo there. Look at this. Kleenex renames its man-sized tissues as extra large after complaints. Now, who would care? The idea that there are people walking through drugstores and grocery stores offended by a box of Kleenex with the words man size on them. What kind of are we talking about here? Kleenex, of course, is bowing to the pressure of 1/10% of the population, made to look much bigger than it is by a compliant and willing, insane media. Kleenex is scrapping its man-sized tissues branding after consumers complained that it's sexist. Company said it's changing the name of the tissues to Kleenex Extra Large following feedback from customers. Kimberly-Clark, which owns Kleenex and makes the things, said that it succumbed to growing public demand. Let me tell you something. The people that have time to complain about this are not the people you want to be letting run your business. This has always amazed me. The cowardice, the fear that runs it. Stand up to this. This is nowhere near a majority of Kimberly-Clark customers. It's made to look like that. Succumb to growing public demand to change the name despite not believing itself that the branding endorses gender inequality. So Kleenex is saying, what are you kidding? Man size is not meant to be critical of anybody. But okay, we'll change the name if it makes you unhappy. The new boxes are to be renamed Extra Large following complaints the name was sexist. Kleenex for Men first launched in 1956 with the claim that they would stay strong when wet, quote unquote. However, consumers have tweeted Kleenex to ask them why its products still use the term men's. This is a campaign. Nobody normal would start a campaign on something like this. And by normal, I mean with normal things to do during the day and in life. These are people that have been activized, propagandized, weaponized in college or in school by deranged lunatic professors. And it could be parents. By the same token, this stuff is absolutely ridiculous. It's embarrassingly ridiculous. Man size. Sturdy, you ever bought man-sized Kleenex? Well, you know what? I've known they're out there, but my staff never buys them. You know, in fact, I wish the staff would. I could use them. I have to blow my nose a lot. But my point is, when you're going to the grocery store for people to do that, and you see man size, you don't think gender things. You're not you just, oh man, that must be pretty big. You're not thinking anything discriminatory. When you run through the grocery store, for people that go to grocery stores, you run through the Kleenex aisle, and you see standard brand Kleenex that don't have the word man size, you don't think, those are the tiny ones for those women. You don't think that. People don't think that way. Well, these are the people demanding a Democrat Party fix all this mess for them. Trump is right. Democrat Party gives us mobs. Trump gives us jobs. Here's Pelosi. Oops, I went past it. Here we go. It's Pelosi. There will be collateral damage for those who disagree with us. House Minority Leader, hopefully in perpetuity, Nancy Pelosi told a gathering at the 92nd Street Y on Sunday that there may have to be collateral damage to those Americans who do not agree with the Democrat Party agenda. Pelosi was being interviewed on stage by noted economic dunce Paul Krugman of the New York Times. The day Donald Trump won the presidency, he said that Trump would trigger a global recession with no end. That's what Krugman says. That's his credit, but he's an economic dunce. That Trump's election would trigger a global recession, no end in sight. Why does the guy have any econ cred left? He couldn't have been more wrong than he was. But there he is, interviewing Pelosi in a long, rambling monologue during which she stumbled on... Let me check the sound bites. I'm going to see if we have this. But it won't take me long here, folks. People have asked, why can't you put this on computer? I for parts of it, I could, but it would actually slow me down in other ways. Pelosi. No Pelosi. Okay. So somebody could have told me that like 30 seconds ago, because they don't have time. In a long, rambling monologue during which she stumbled on her words and appeared to lose her train of thought, which is becoming very common for Pelosi in public, she said, I'm just going to quote here, "We have to have total clarity about what we do when it comes to everything. A woman's right to choose, gay marriage, whether it's about immigration, whether it's about gun safety, whether it's about... speaking of that, polling on gun control is even doing great damage to the Democrats. They're losing ground on that issue. People who support increased gun control, the numbers are down 6%, not up. Anyway, we have to have total clarity about what we do when it comes to everything. A woman's right to choose, i.e. abortion, gay marriage, whether it's about immigration, whether it's about gun safety, whether it's about climate. I think we owe the American people to be there for them, for their financial... Folks, you're going to be broke if this woman gets back into the speakership. Financial security, respecting the dignity and worth of every person in our... What the hell does that mean? Respecting the dignity, and the implication is that there's a whole swath of America that does not respect the dignity and worth of every... That's not what she means. She means minority rights, being able to trample on the majority. That's what that means. Respecting the dignity and worth of every... Meaning every person in our party with a psychological disorder you must accept as normal. That's what that means. Why are you laughing in there? Because you know I'm right. You just don't believe I've got the guts to be saying this. That's exactly what this means. Respecting the dignity and worth of every person in our country means you've got to accept as normal every oddball in our party suffering a psychological disorder. You must accept it, and you must love them, and you must make way for them. And if there's some collateral damage, she rambled, for some who do not share our view, well, so be it. But it shouldn't be our original purpose. What? Well, even this is a Breitbart story. Even they say it's not clear what Pelosi meant by collateral damage. What could she mean? What else could she mean other than punishment? She's not talking about just losing, because that will happen if people that don't vote for Pelosi, if she ends up being Speaker, Democrats run the House, they lose. That's not collateral damage. Collateral damage is what happens after they lose. The punishment for not voting. This is who they've always been. I'm not just talking about climate change. This is a threat against anybody who dares to disagree with the Democrat Party line on anything. Speaking of collateral damage, in case you're wondering what it is, let me turn to the Daily Caller. 8 violent attacks on Republicans just this year by Democrats suffering psychological disorders, upset that the Democrat Party has not yet fixed it. California congressional candidate Rudy Peters, challenging Eric Swalwell, narrowly escaped a stabbing attempt in September. Peters' attacker, Farzad Fazeli, shouted disparaging remarks about Republicans before attempting to stab the Republican candidate with a switchblade. Male Democrat operative allegedly assaults female Trump staffer. An operative with Democrat political group American Bridge was arrested in March for assaulting a female staffer in Trump's administration. The liberal operative allegedly shoved the woman, the press secretary for Ryan Zinke, to the floor as he chased after Zinke. Same male Democrat operative allegedly assaults female GOP campaign manager. That same American Bridge operative, Wilfred Stark is his name, was arrested Tuesday for allegedly chasing and assaulting Nevada gubernatorial nominee Adam Laxalt's campaign manager. Stark was charged with battery for the attack, which left the woman bruised as well as terrified and traumatized. Wyoming GOP office set on fire. This is the stuff Pelosi is promising. This is the stuff the Democrats applaud. This is the stuff that Maxine Waters is encouraging. This is the mob mentality the Democrat Party is stoking. And if you're out there, if you're a Democrat and you say, Russia really, the Democrats, when have they denounced any of it? Maxine Waters shouts the stupidity she shouts. Does any Democrat ask her to calm down? Does any Democrat disavow what Maxine Waters is encouraging people to do? Get in people's face, kick them out of restaurants and all that? There isn't any disavowal. The Democrats are not distancing themselves from these people or this behavior. They're not condemning it. They have to be encouraging it. Okay, time out. Back with more in a minute.
America's Anchorman, Rush,
Stupidity.
on the EIB Network.
Oops. Yeah, it's amazing. The Russian collusion stories disappeared from the media's radar. The only thing I compare it with is how gun control has completely disappeared, too. Isn't it amazing? Gun control gone, Russian collusion is gone, and yet Russian collusion was going to be how the Democrats are going to win the House back. Remember? What happened to it? Must not have been any. At least by Trump and the Republicans. Okay, Curtis. Curtis in Norfolk, Virginia. You're up first today at Open Line Friday. Glad you called.
Rush, it's a pleasure, and I really appreciate the time.
Hey, you bet, sir.
I have one comment about your interview with Mr. Hannity, and then one question that has nothing to do with politics.
Sure.
It's Open Line Friday. First of all, the interview was outstanding, but I will tell you that yesterday when you alluded to the fact that they had cut something out of the interview, I looked right at my wife and I said the word ballsy. And she looked at me and I said, Rush is in charge of his own thing, and Sean, as much as I love him, is not in charge of Fox. And there's no way they'll let that go on the air. And so then 9 o'clock came. I live on the East Coast. She had fallen asleep, and I watched the interview, and they didn't even let you say struck, whatever you do about that. And I thought, that's got to be what it is. And then I just heard you say it. So I thought that was pretty funny.
Wait a minute. Are you saying they edited struck, stroke, smirk, too?
I think they let you say smirk once. But then even when you, and I'm not demeaning you at all. You're one of my heroes. But I know why you call McConnell Turtle.
Did they leave that in? They leave that in.
They did, but they said that you said it's because he's so slow. And I think
well, whatever works. That's fine. Yeah, the path of least resistance on that was probably best. But
amen. But it was outstanding, and I agree with Sean. I wish you were on TV more, but I've got your app, and I do all the things that I can listen to you. I work from home now, so I don't even watch the news anymore. I just listen to.
That's all you need. That's great. I thank you. I really do. Yeah. That's a great testimonial that you've just given for the app and for the website, because it is.
And I'm sorry to interrupt you, sir, but if I may quickly, I became a Pittsburgh Steelers fan December 23rd, 1972, which was the Immaculate Reception. And I've listened to you since 1991, but I don't recall ever I'm sure you have, but I was curious about the initial way that you became a Steelers fan.
I moved to Pittsburgh. I left home. My first job away from home was when I was 20. It was 1971. I moved to Pittsburgh. It's actually a suburban station called McKeesport. And I worked there for a year and a half and then went to an ABC-owned and operated station in Pittsburgh. When I got to Pittsburgh, I was 20 years old, and the closest football team to where I had grown up was the same. It was Cardinals, and they were everywhere. I was a baseball fan. I liked football, watched it now and then, but was not really into it. But I got caught up as a resident of Pittsburgh when that dynasty was forming. I got caught up in it.
Yep.
And I was there through 1975, and I just got, I like everybody in that. It's amazing to me. It's where I first evolved the theory of how the performance of a sports team can have so much impact on the self-esteem of the population of a city. The Steelers owned that city. Well, they did even before they were lovable bumblers. But then when the Super Bowl years came, it hasn't dropped off. It hasn't evaporated. It's incredible. I got caught up in it, and that's why I became a Steelers fan. I lived there.
In retrospect, I think that the Raiders of 1972, they had some lovable characters and some crazy players, but to me, they were the Pelosi back then, and the Steelers were the Trump. As soon as Franco made that catch out of midair,
there was nothing Pelosi about the Raiders. The Raiders were man-sized Kleenex. Now, let me tell you something. For people who this is honestly true. People who have come of age and are watching the NFL of today and of the past 10 years, if you weren't alive or old enough in the 60s and 70s and even the early part of the 80s, watching the NFL, you would think the game today, in many ways, not all, but in many ways, has become romper room compared to the way. I'll give you an example. I got very little time here, but there's an ongoing controversy between the Cincinnati Bengals and the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Bengals have his linebacker, number 55, Vontaze Burfict, who purposely tries to injure people. And he purposely tried to injure number 84, Antonio Brown, again last Sunday. Forearm to the helmet, should have been suspended, but wasn't because the league's tired of suspending him. Well, after that play, shortly after, Roethlisberger says he's going to get under center, and Burfict points to number 19, Juju Smith-Schuster, and says, "You're next." And Roethlisberger says, "We can't have that in this." A guy saying, "You're next," should be suspended. In the 70s, you could take somebody's head off with a clothesline, a forearm clothesline, and it was just the way the game was. They've really toned the game down. I'm not advocating one or the other. I'm just saying that the modern NFL is somewhat reflective of the snowflake culture of today. It's still a brutal game. Do not anybody misunderstand me. But it isn't the game it was in the 70s, 60s.
He doesn't hold back the news you need to know. Rush on the EIB Network.
Well, I intended to get into audio sound bites this hour, but I'll lead with it coming out of the top of the hour. I want to review some of the many stories that we've had forced down our throats just in the last few months that were all designed to get rid of Donald Trump by the drive-bys. We'll be right back.
It's poetry and fiction. So you would give control to me. Rising temperatures and oceans. Sweet deals for my friends and me. We blinded you with science.
They blinded you with science.
Mixed with ideology. Yeah.
They blinded you with science.
Hanson, Jones, and Man and Me. Blinded you with science, science.
Science. They blinded you.
Peer-reviewed by family. Blinded you with science, science.
Science! Science?
It was poetry and fiction. Whatever sounded scary. I don't need all this commotion about emails and climatology. Okay, so we blinded you with science.
They blinded you with science.
Filled with ideology. Does this mean I have to give the Nobel back?
In the public interest, the EIB Network, in conjunction with the National Condom Educational Project, present Safe Snorting, Do's and Don'ts. After a number of today's youngsters were injured doing incredibly ignorant thrill challenges, parents were in need of a safe alternative to driving while blindfolded, eyeball piercing, or the Tide Pod Challenge. While it might seem strange to mom and dad, condom snorting can be good, clean fun if done correctly. Always provide the child with small to average size pre-lubricated condoms. Avoid Black Anaconda or Superhero. Limit the use of ribbed or textured condoms to end frequent trips to the emergency room. And for a special treat, flavored condoms at snack time are always a favorite.
Thanks, Mom.
Have a good time.
Don't be judgmental, or they will do something else that'll damage their brain even more.
I did it! I did it!
Here, honey, try another.
Okay.
Jim Comey's new book continues to capture America's landfills. A higher loyalty to the left, truth, lies, and what's the difference? Taken directly from Jim Comey's copious day-to-day notes of facts, observations, and important decisions. This former FBI director takes you on a surprising tour of his moral compass. Like when Comey's sharp eyes were fixed on Loretta Lynch.
Loretta Lynch met with Bill Clinton on the tarmac to discuss something in private. That's curious. Must find out where she got those shoes.
And Obama's abuse of the NSA to spy on Trump.
I want you to get a FISA warrant on everybody in the campaign. All the way down to their dog.
I wish I had the nerve to ask him if he even knows how much I'm into him.
Read Comey's chapter, Hillary's Secret Email Server.
Note, this is disturbing. Must protect Hillary from herself at all cost. But how?
And his account of the inauguration.
And we will restore the rule of law.
What exactly does he mean by that? Must call Bob Mueller and tell him Donald Trump isn't morally fit to be president. But Hillary is.
A higher loyalty to the left, truth, lies, and what's the difference? Not heavy enough for a doorstop and too thin to spank the cat. And now, on behalf of the Egyptian Department of Health and the Muslim Brotherhood, here is American President Obama with a warning to the nursing mothers of Egypt.
Mothers of Egypt, your Prime Minister, Hisham Kandil, has determined through observation and geometric logic that your unclean breasts are the cause of diarrhea in your children. And since the Muslim Brotherhood can never be wrong, or it will reflect badly on me, I must tell you that your national health care plan now requires all nursing mothers to clean and sanitize your breast with a simple solution of bleach, sand, and detergent for 20 minutes between feedings. Failure to do so will result in a premium increase of 2 chickens per month. I can't finish this. This is beneath me.
It's okay. I got it. Random breast inspections will be performed personally by the Clinton Global Initiative, serving women across the world since 2005. So ladies, keep them clean. I'll be watching.
You think she's adorable.
I'll just have a salad.
Because she's so fit and trim.
Make that half a salad.
But even if things go smooth on the first date, think twice before settling down. Married women are twice as likely to become obese.
Oh, and I'll have the rack of lamb for 2.
Thinking of just shacking up? Women are still 63% more likely to bulk up when they cohabitate with the opposite sex.
And I'd like some fries on the side and some onion rings.
Feminist research originally believed the phenomenon to be an allergic reaction to men. But at Obesity Today, we went undercover to find the root cause of post-commitment bloating.
It's so hard to decide on just one dessert.
And why you should drop her after the first date. Don't let this happen to you. Read To Have and to Hold on those love handles in Obesity Today.
We'll just split the turtle cheesecake, the cream brulee, and the double death by chocolate. A la mode. Thank you.
Welcome back. Great to have you, Rush Limbaugh, wrapping up another sterling week of broadcast excellence.
Now, from sunny South Florida, it's Open Line Friday.
Fastest 3 hours in media. Maybe just zip by here. If you're bored and you want time to fly by, tune into this program. It'll start and stop before you're even aware of it. Except you'll be cognizantly aware of the great time you've had. 800-282-2882 if you want to be on the program. The email address lrushbo@eibnet.us. So Pelosi's out there saying there will be blood. There will be consequences for people that don't support our agenda. Nancy Pelosi is threatening the people of America. No, I really don't think anybody is. Oh my God, Mabel, we better vote Democrat. You see what Pelosi? There'll be consequences. They're monitoring us. That's the kind of thing that ought to send people running exactly away from the Democrats. Here's the thing about the modern-day Democrat Party, particularly in the 2 years since Trump was inaugurated. This party is going crazy. From top to bottom, there is no pocket of sanity. There's no respite. There's no place within the Democrat hierarchy that a Democrat can withdraw to for even a moment's sanity. It's not rewarded. No one in the Democrat Party has done, at any level, has done anything to stop this. Maxine Waters is out encouraging bullying, encouraging the harassment of people in restaurants. A Democrat Looney Tune literally was shooting Republicans at a baseball practice. We have people trying to make Susan Collins think that ricin was sent to her house. There are Democrats all over the country encouraging, starting with Obama and on down to Kamala Harris and Maxine Waters and now Pelosi, who are encouraging this kind of mob near violence. They certainly are not disavowing it. And that's the point. From top to bottom of the Democrat Party, not a single person at any level has done anything but fan the flames of these crazies. And these people suffering from terrible psychological disorders that have made them profoundly abnormal. So they're going out there and they're terrorizing people, and they think that they're doing it with the approval and sanction of Democrat Party leaders. In some cases, they're being paid to do it. Why are they doing it? Well, if you listen to any of the Democrats campaigning, like Beto O'Rourke, we have a soundbite coming up. Our old buddies like at Campus Reform went on campus and found some people going to vote for Beto O'Rourke. Would you be surprised to learn that not a single person they ran into could tell them what a single Beto O'Rourke policy is? Doesn't surprise you at all, does it? Not when the media is promoting Beto as middle name Kennedy. They're promoting his good looks. They're promoting the womanizing. If you're going to promote Kennedy, you got to promote it all. I'm not accusing Beto of that, but if you're going to say, hey, I'm just like the Kennedys, then you got to be just like the Kennedys. Stay away from 69 Oldsmobiles on bridges. But I mean, not a single person voting for Beto can tell you one of his issues, because it doesn't matter. And in many of these other places, the Democrats are running on issues that are not at the forefront of people's minds, or they are on the wrong side. But if you really stop to think about it, mob behavior, bullying, the appearance of insane rage and anger is all they have left. They don't have any issues or policies to run on for the same old reason. They can't be honest. Oh, they've got plenty of policies. Oh, they got plenty of issues. Oh, they have plenty of ideas. They just don't dare tell anybody what they are. Not at the run-up to election time. They have no leaders to rally behind. What do you mean? Well, look at the presidential frontrunners of this party. Joe Bite Me, Crazy Bernie, who is losing popularity. And if you haven't heard, Hillary Clinton has all but made it official. She's running again in 2020. Hillary Clinton, a two-time loser, wants to go for the trifecta. And I'm telling you, there are a lot of people in the Democrat Party hierarchy, particularly in the media, who don't want her anywhere near a presidential campaign again. Kamala Harris, big whoop. By the time the microscopes get to her, we're going to find out how really intellectually vacant that woman actually is. And the same thing with Cory Spartacus Booker. These people survive on image and reputation built by the drive-by media. But when the time comes to find out what really goes on between their ears, you learn that it isn't much. They're frustrated because they've tried everything they can to get rid of Donald Trump, and not only have they failed, he has thrived. So all they have is rage, and the rage is actually the anger associated with failure. They have failed in every attempt, every effort to get Donald Trump's approval numbers down to the 30s and the 20s. So one of the primary parties in America, the Democrat Party, has now become a party of rage and violence, mob-like bullying behavior. It's their only angle. And they're actually paying people to go engage in this kind of behavior. Let's review some things that were in the news 24/7. And the reason they were in the news 24/7, because this was how the drive-by media working with the Democrat Party was going to get rid of Donald Trump. And yes, folks, I mean get rid of Donald Trump. I don't think what this has been about is simply waiting until Republicans lose an election such as the midterms. I think they've actually sought to have Donald Trump removed from office since the day after the election. I think that's what Mueller's about. That's what the collusion thing is about. That's what every one of these stories has been about, is somehow magically forcing Donald Trump out of office and effectively canceling the results of the 2016 election. This has not been about setting the table and making a case for removing Trump, say, at the ballot box in 2020, or having the Republicans lose the House in 2018. This has been about literally removing Donald Trump from the White House. That has been the mobilizing, energizing thing that's gotten them all out of bed every day. Everybody from the drive-by media leaders to the Democrat Party leaders to the enraged abnormalities that make up a Democrat base. And I mean that specifically. I think it's one of the reasons why the rage and anger is now so out of control is because usually these people are able to accomplish most of this kind of thing against any other Republican. They want to destroy Mitt Romney or George W. Bush. Pretty much they know they're going to succeed. They've tried everything they know with Trump, haven't even made a dent, really. And it's all been about having Trump thrown out of office. 25th Amendment, that's now. That's not 2 years down the road. How many times have they brought up the cabinet needs to get together and determine this man's not fit? They want him out of office every day now. The failure compounds the rage. Look at just some of the issues that were 24/7 for at least 2 weeks. And in no particular order here, all of these were designed to take out Donald Trump. Christine Ballsy Ford. That was a twofer. That was get rid of Kavanaugh as well. In that case, they didn't care. If they destroyed Brett Kavanaugh's life, his family, his career, his past, his future, no problem. That's what they were trying to do. Christine Ballsy Ford. Stormy Daniels, a porn star, became a hero to the Democrat Party, and her creepy porn star attorney, Michael Avenatti, who was then touted as perhaps a Democrat Party presidential front runner for 2020, and Donald Trump's taxes. That was an issue that was effervescing below the surface for the entire time, and then there were a couple of days where it made the lead. How about the shooting at the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas School in Parkland, Florida, and the creation of a couple of new Democrat Party activists, Camera Hogg, and I forget the other one? How long did that story go on? How big a star did they turn Camera Hogg into, and where is he now? And where is the issue of gun control? Where is the story that young people, high school and college students, had had enough and they were going to take control of the apparatus of government and they were going to get rid of guns and they're going to wipe out the NRA? Where is that today? What happened? Oh, Camera Hogg is still there, and the next time something happens that makes him useful to be brought back to life, there he will be again. My point is, these are all manufactured, tailored people and issues based on a happening or a moment, but none of it is organic or real. What do you mean, Rush? You're saying David Hogg is... No, I'm saying he's totally real, but he's a media creation. As David Hogg doesn't have an audience, David Hogg did not literally create a bond, neither does Ocasio-Cortez. These people do not have connections with an audience. They don't have connections with voters like Trump has or like other successful people in media do. They have been made media heroes by the media, but it isn't real. Like Hogg is gone, but nobody's alarmed. I mean, well, we miss Hogg. We want to see it. Nobody's saying, where's Hogg? It's not a criticism. He hasn't had time to build up a connection or an audience. But the point is, none of this is real. It's all soap opera script material. What's another one? The Me Too movement. Hillary Clinton has effectively killed that by saying, my husband, you can't say that he did anything wrong with Monica Lewinsky. She was an adult. She was a consenting adult. She had my approval. She was a consenting adult. I knew what Bill was. It's not abuse because Bill Clinton knew that she was an adult. Well, bye-bye Me Too movement. I mean, if the babe that ran the bimbo eruptions unit to destroy women, claiming her husband abused them, comes up now to defend her guy, what good is the Me Too movement? Again, another manufactured moment. And by manufactured, my point about all these is none of these issues or people have the legs to survive on their own without the media fanning the flames or propping them up each and every day. That is my precise point. Trump doesn't need the media to be who he is. Trump doesn't need the media to be elected. Trump doesn't need the media to remain popular. But all of these people do. Ballsy Ford could not come close to establish a connection with serious number of Americans to be able to make herself a public figure without the media making it happen. Ditto Stormy Daniels, ditto Michael Avenatti, ditto any of these people, camera hog, people in the Me Too movement. What happened to Omarosa? Omarosa had the big book, the big tell-all book. She was going to lower the boom on the Trumpster. Where is she and where is her book? It must not have had much in it in the final analysis. And where is Omarosa? Omarosa is another one of these people because she was in the shadow or in the light of Donald Trump, made the mistake of thinking she was her own media star when she was nothing but a bit support player who can't survive without the host organism acknowledging her existence. That would be Trump. So many pretenders, so many phonies who get a taste of fame, think it's legit, think it's them, learn they can't survive on their own because they're not stars. They're not famous in the sense that they've achieved something for which they are admired. They might be spectacles and they might be conversation pieces, but they are nothing of any substantive, lasting nature. But you can't tell them that. So, but, where's Stormy? She can't survive unless Trump's paying attention to her. Ditto Omarosa. Bob Woodward, what happened to his book? What about that book was supposed to destroy the Trump administration. Why is the Trump administration still functioning after the Bob Woodward book? Woodward was the latest kill project. Trump seems to have survived. Even Woodward's now gone. If Trump's not talking about Woodward, Woodward doesn't exist. If Trump isn't talking about Camera Hog. But just to illustrate the point, I don't need Trump talking about me to continue to do what I do. Trump doesn't talk about me much anyway. But this is the point. These people are all the product of Donald Trump's achievements and fame and notoriety, and they can't survive outside his area of dominant influence. Think of all the time and the energy that has been put into all of these people and all of these things, and every one of them has been an abject failure in terms of their objective, getting rid of Donald Trump. These weapons have been neutered. The media is running out of them.
America's Anchorman, Rush, on the EIB Network.
Dear Mr. Limbaugh, you wouldn't last 2 months on TV. If they're going to edit out ballsy, you may as well just give up being on TV. Just an email from a fan. I understand the sentiment out there, but I'm not sure that's quite right. New York Post just published headline, Migrant Caravan Heading for U.S. Turns Around in Mexico. Have you seen this anywhere else? I haven't. It's not on Drudge yet, so I report this to you with a little bit of caution. The caravan of Honduran migrants have turned around today, a day after reaching the Mexico-Guatemala border, according to a report. What's this? This is New York Post. It's an AP story. Some 4,000 migrants fled their lives of poverty and violence in the Central American country with the hopes of making. They were bought and paid. Nothing about this is organic. You know, Trump's right to ask who's paying for this. Who is buying the food? Who is buying the water and distributing it? Who is paying for the gasoline for the vehicles being used? Where are these people taking care of hygienic requirements? For those of you in Rio Linda, where are they pooping? Have you seen them? Got any porta potties that are trailing along in the caravan? All of this stuff has to be accounted for. You're going to bring 4,000 people? They got to eat. They got to drink. They've got to have some shelter at some point. Who is behind this? And we're going to find out. We're going to find out. The thing about this, I'm trying to, and I openly speculated about this yesterday. Somebody on the Democrat side wants this to happen. I'm trying to figure out how this caravan, let's say they get to the border and storm the border and just run across it. How do they think that helps the Democrats? Unless it's just the pictures of chaos they think are going to redound negatively to Trump. Anyway, okay, look, I promise sound bites and your phone calls are coming up after this break. I promise.
It's time for another O in the White House. Oprah's not only a global media superstar, but also the heaviest health spokesman since George Foreman to tell us how to eat.
On my plan, you can eat anything!
She's the perfect choice as the Democratic nominee, with even greater skill than Obama at giving away stuff to build her base.
Everyone gets a new car!
Imagine Dr. Oz in charge of America's health.
We just rub some Jamba Juice on it, and your cancer is cured.
Dr. Phil as Secretary of State.
Kim, buddy, you just never had any kind of boundaries growing up. Isn't that right?
Oh, yes. Yes.
Yes, Oprah will tell you what books to read and what ointments to use to reduce the bags under your eyes as you watch her all day, every day, for 8 long years. And as a close friend of Harvey Weinstein,
Johnny gets a new car!
Can win! Oprah versus Trump 2020. It's no contest. It's the jewel of the Caribbean, but it's not for everybody.
Gitmo, the Muslim resort.
It's a luxury resort just for terrorist wannabes.
Come down and visit for some R&R, for some rest and relaxation.
It's paradise on earth.
Diet, Korans, prayer rugs. I mean, where else can Muslims go in the world to find everything they need?
Truly a deluxe vacation spot for true believers everywhere.
There's no better place than Gitmo. Club Gitmo, the Muslim resort.
Club Gitmo, there is nothing in the world quite like it.
It's a one-of-a-kind resort on the west coast of Cuba, overlooking the bay. Every visitor, every check-in at no charge gets a new Koran, a new prayer rug, Muslim chefs, Muslim dietary laws, 5 prayer sessions a day.
Club Gitmo, reserve your spot today.
Club Gitmo has been endorsed by Amnesty International. It's a tropical paradise down there where Muslim extremists and terrorist wannabes can get together for rest and relaxation.
Remember, Muslim extremists everywhere. At Club Gitmo, we have a spot reserved for you. Now, the EIB Network takes you behind the scenes with House Ways and Means Chairman Charlie Rangel. Today, Charlie visits with his new forensic accountant.
So, as a professional, what do you think, Mr. Peabody?
Well, based on the files that you sent over, 2 complete years of data are missing. And these income figures are blacked out for 2001, 03, 04, 05, and 07.
Yeah, well, I told you she was a terrible accountant. Just do the best you can with what you have, okay?
Oh, there's no need to worry.
Oh, you're my kind of guy.
As a forensic accountant, I will be able to retrieve all these missing facts and figures through bank records, receipts, and accurately account for every transaction.
What?
Every penny.
What?
I'll bring potential problems to the surface so you can feel at peace knowing that
Feel at peace? I want this whole thing to rest in peace. I wanted you to bury it underneath, like Hoffa in the end zone at the Meadowlands. No. I don't speak Spanish. No habla. I don't understand the word you're saying. I can't even hear what you're saying. La 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 la. Start spreading the news. I'm leaving today.
Mr. Rangel, don't leave. Taxes are a responsibility we all must face.
Join us next time when we once again go behind the scenes with Chairman Charlie Rangel in his continuing quest for a new accountant.
That's right. And of course, that's right. I said it. Okay, we're back. Open Line Friday, Rush Limbaugh to Springfield, Illinois. Todd. Thank you, sir. Hi.
Rush, how are you today, sir?
Oh, good. Really good.
Do you remember when you used to take cell phones up front because they cost so much to use?
When I used to take cell phones up front, what do you mean?
You would put them at the top of the line because it costs so much for cell
yeah, that's right, because we the 800 number didn't apply to cell phones. Cell phone callers had to pay money to be on hold. Yeah, I do remember that. Way back. Was that how far back you go?
I've been way back before that even. So, but hey, I've got a theory about this caravan. The last 2 years, there's only one thing that the Democrats have won on, and that's the wall. And as a Trump supporter, every time the issue of the wall comes up, I get aggravated that it's something that they've won on and Trump has caved on. And I think that they've done this at this time just to put an exclamation point on and to emphasize that Trump is not the winner that he says he is.
You know, that's an interesting thought, that the idea to flood the border to demonstrate that Trump does not have the wall, can't get the wall, maybe isn't going to get the wall, so maybe people should abandon Trump. Do you think that would work?
Well, it's not going to work on me, but let me tell you, as a Trump supporter, that is the big thing that aggravates me. Every time he signs one of these things to keep the government going that's got nothing in it, it burns me up every single time.
So, are you a little concerned that Trump is not really trying hard enough for the wall?
No, I mean, I've got political theories as to why it hasn't happened yet. Maybe, Trump. I trust in Trump. I think he knows what he's doing. It could be that he wants to do this next year, right before the election, to get everybody energized. I don't know. All I can say is he's a smarter man than I am.
Maybe, but I. Your theory is really quite insightful, but it requires for the Democrats to pull it off. A lot of Trump voters would have to believe he's not trying hard enough, and for the Democrats to capitalize on flooding the zone with 4,000 people that get into the country just to demonstrate that Trump hasn't built the wall, that Trump really can't stop these people, that Trump therefore is ineffective. Those people, in order to abandon Trump, would then have to conclude he's not really trying very hard. And I don't even think they would abandon him this soon yet. No,
I don't. I agree. I know I'm not, and I don't think most of them will. But my question is, what else do they got?
Well, they've got mob behavior. lunatic, insane rage.
Right, but I mean on Trump, they got nothing they can put up that Trump hasn't done that he's promised, and that's the
well, that's exactly right.
Open wound right there. That's the sore in the Trump supporters that we haven't got the wall, and we want. It's not even they aren't even digging a foundation yet. It hasn't even started. So it really aggravates me personally that this is something that they just keep these continuing resolutions and these things to keep the.
Oh, hey, I'm with you. You're talking about all of these spending bills. We've had new budget deals. We've had continuing resolutions. Democrats can't stop anything in the House. They can in the Senate. Here's what Trump's up against. And before you go, Todd, I want to get your thoughts on it. Trump is still up against the fact that leaders in both parties do not want that wall. It's not just the Democrats that are opposing Trump on this. It's also, there are a lot of Republicans that don't want that wall because of Republican donors. Trump is still pretty much fighting the establishment, the swamp on that.
Mm-hmm. They didn't want tax cuts either.
No, they didn't.
And there's a lot of other things they didn't want that he's come through and he's twisted them into doing what he wants.
Well,
and
many of I think many of the Republicans have bought the idea that Trump was going to be a goner before now. They are so convinced the media will get rid of whoever the media targets. I think certainly the first 6 to 8 months of 2017, Trump's first year, I think the Republicans didn't do anything to help him because they didn't think he was going to survive. And that's one of the reasons that the Obamacare repeal and replace didn't go anywhere, because the Republicans just bought into the notion that most of the country actually hated Trump, despite the fact that he had been elected. And it's been a slow reversal, been a slow realization on the part of the Republicans that Trump is the guy and that Trump is immensely popular, particularly on the Republican side. Well, we'll see if this story on the caravan turning around. Pompeo is there. Pompeo left Saudi Arabia after having met with King Salman and Mohammed bin Salman, the crown prince. He then flew to Mexico. And they have to know that Trump is not going to put up with this, and I think that was the message Pompeo took. So we got one report from AP that the caravan has turned around. Now, if that's true, whoever is paying for this is going to have to keep paying for those people to go wherever they go next. Are they going to go back to Honduras? Are they going to go back to Guatemala? Are they going to go to holding places and wait to try to do the caravan all over? Or are they going to try to sneak them in smaller groups rather than as part of this gigantic mob? Only time will tell. Thanks again, Todd. This is Jeremy in Mayfield, Kentucky. You are next on Open Line Friday. Hi.
Thanks for taking my call, Rush. Am I coming in loud and clear?
You are, sir. Hear you just fine.
Thanks. It's a $60 Samsung, so, whatever. But,
we all have our obstacles to bear in life, and you're overcoming this pretty well. I hear you pretty well.
Thank you. I voted for Trump. I'm an avid Trump voter, and I'm America First in the most historic sense, and I'm an American patriot. So take that in context with my question here. How can the United States be allies with countries, and you mentioned this in the first part of your monologue, we're allies with Saudi Arabia and Israel. How can we be allies with Saudi Arabia when the Pentagon Papers released in 2016 showed that they funded 9/11? Also, Israel has attacked us in the past, like USS Liberty, we had the Levant affair. Can you clear that up for me?
Well, on the Saudi side, yeah, the Israeli spy on us too. Everybody spies on everybody. Jonathan Pollard, he was an Israeli spy that got caught, and the Israelis wanted him back unharmed, and we said, "Screw you! We're your benefactor. You don't spy on us." And they said, "Yes, we do, and we're going to continue to spy because we can't trust anybody. We're Israel." And particularly when Democrats are in the White House, that's a factor. Now, when it comes to the Saudis, I want to share with you, because your question here is really good. I remember after 9/11 happened, when I learned that it was either all 19 or like 90%, 80% of the 19 hijackers were Saudi. I remember I was talking to William F. Buckley Jr. about a number of things, not just this, and I brought that up. And I remember him getting frustrated with me about it. He said, what does that have to do with anything? I don't understand. The Saudi government supposedly is an ally, and yet these hijackers come from Saudi Arabia. He said, are you saying the Saudi royal family is behind this? I said, how can we say that they're not? That is when I began to try to learn about the relationship to the Saudi royal family to Islam. And that's when I started asking experts. And one of the people I talked to was Andy McCarthy again, because he has tried as a United States attorney, assistant United States attorney, Southern District of Manhattan. He was the lead prosecutor on the Blind Sheikh case. And it was Andy who said that he thought the Blind Sheikh was just acting out and being a radical inventor of various aspects of Islam as part of his technique to mobilize and create even more membership in his group. And then he started reading the things that the Blind Sheikh believes, and he found out none of this is made up. This call for terrorism, dealing with infidels, it's right there in the Quran. If you read it right, this is exactly what is in the book. And he was stunned when he told me it was. So when you then realize that the Saudi royal family is in charge of worldwide Islam because the holy sites are there, Mecca and Medina, I found that it is absolutely true that the Saudi royal family is essentially the shield and the impetus behind worldwide Islam. Well, in Saudi Arabia, the branch of Islam that is, for just to make it easier here and being understood, terrorist Islam comes from Wahhabism. For those of you who heard me say this yesterday, beg your indulgence.